In 2021, the Arizona Diamondbacks were tied for the worst team in all of Major League Baseball, with a record of 52-110. They sat 55 games behind the NL West winning San Francisco Giants. Now, just 2 years later, they're the National League's representative in the World Series. But how did it happen? Now, I know what you clicked on this video for. You want to know how the Diamondbacks turned around their franchise in just 2 seasons. And of course, that's what I'm here to tell you guys, but before that happens, I'm gonna need you guys to subscribe because less than 1% of my viewers are subscribed, and that's not very fun. But what is fun is an extremely fast rebuild, so let's get into that. This rebuild started for the Diamondbacks in the minor leagues, where in 2021 they had the 9th overall ranked farm system, with 3 of their top 4 prospects being some familiar names: Corbin Carroll, Alek Thomas, and Geraldo Perdomo. Obviously, in 2023, those prospects are now major leaguers, and each of them have impacted the team in October. Not to mention, Perdomo was an all-star, and Carroll will be the NL Rookie of the Year. At the beginning of the 2022 season, the farm had jumped up to the 5th-ranked farm in MLB, with the additions of Drew Jones, Brandon Pfaadt, and Jordan Lawler being in the top 5. Lawler and Jones have yet to make their debut for the Snakes, however, Pfaadt just dealt in Game 7 of the NLCS. Along with that, Ryan Nelson and Dre Jameson were also part of that 2022 top 10 prospects who played a big role in the 2023 Diamondbacks successes. This is why baseball rebuilds can take such a long time to complete, but when they are successful, it can be extremely rewarding with many of your young, talented players coming up around the same time, which is exactly what happened to the D-backs in 2023. Now, the farm system can only get you so far, and going into the 2022 season, the Diamondbacks made one of their largest moves of the entire rebuild, and it's this guy right here. I'm not kidding, I genuinely believe that a 75-year-old coach was one of the biggest reasons why the Diamondbacks went from bottom dwellers to World Series. Arizona hired former Astros pitching coach Brent Strom to a multi-year deal in the 2022 MLB offseason. And this guy, let me tell you, this guy is just so damn good at his job. He turns borderline MLB talent into all-stars and good pitchers into future Hall of Famers. He just knows how to get the absolute most out of the arms on his staff. And that was shown off with some of his pitchers. Take a look at D-backs ace Zach Gallen, for example. In 2021, he was okay. Actually, he was pretty bad with a 4.3 ERA in 23 starts that season. In 2022, the first year under Brent Strom, he dropped his ERA to 2.54 and was 5th in NL Cy Young voting. And I can already hear you saying that's just one player, so let's take a look at Merrill Kelly. He had a 4.44 ERA in 2021 and a 3.37 ERA in 2022. That's over a full run difference in ERA from when Strom wasn't there to when he was. As a whole, the D-backs 2021 pitching staff had a 5.11 ERA, and in 2022 they had a 4.25, almost allowing a full run less per game. I also know there was some roster turnover and some of the players were better players, but ignoring the impact Strom had on this organization is silly. One pitcher that Strom couldn't fix was former World Series MVP Madison Bumgardner. His Arizona campaign was nothing short of terrible, posting a 5.23 ERA in 69 games as a Diamondback. He was DFA'd at the very beginning of the 2023 season after posting an ERA north of 10 and trying to fight someone, which really was a catalyst in showing that the Diamondbacks were here to win. The D-backs signed Mad Bum to a 5-year, $85 million contract just a few years ago in the 2020 season, so releasing him basically meant they'd be forfeiting about $30 million to a player who would no longer be on the roster. It could have been very easy for a low-market team like the Diamondbacks to keep Madison Bumgardner around even if he wasn't pitching that well, because they didn't want to forfeit that much money to a former star player that they gave a big financial agreement to. However, they had a winning mindset and cut him, and look where that ended up getting them. That winning mindset was not only shown off while cutting Bumgardner either. There were a good amount of signings and trades that the D-backs made to bolster their roster, even if some people might have thought it didn't make too much sense at the time. Two of their bigger moves were locking up two of their own star players. Corbin Carroll and Ketel Marte. Carroll had played just 32 games before the Diamondbacks signed him to a contract north of $100 million to keep him in Arizona for 8 more years. And in the same offseason, they signed Marte to a 5-year, $77 million contract. Both of these moves came in the 2023 offseason. They spent some money, and now they're going to be able to post up an NL pennant at Chase Field. The 2022 offseason was definitely pretty stale for the Diamondbacks, with very few important moves being made. However, in November of 2022, the Diamondbacks traded for Kyle Lewis from the Seattle Mariners. Lewis didn't do much of anything with Arizona this season, but once again, it showed they were trying this time around, unlike the last offseason. They knew that the window was opening with their top prospects starting to reach MLB level, and they took advantage of it. That wasn't the last or biggest trade the Snakes would make in that offseason, however, which came in December, where they traded Dalton Varsho for rookie catcher Gabriel Moreno and also veteran Lourdes Gurriel Jr. Again, if you've been watching the Diamondbacks this season, you'd know how big of an impact these two hitters have made on the lineup. A few weeks later, they signed Evan Longoria as a leader for the clubhouse. They also traded for Tommy Pham at the trade deadline, who would also play a key spot in their playoff run. The lineup was entirely overhauled and the rotation had gotten significantly better, but none of that compares to the improvements that the bullpen made. If you look at the overall numbers for the D-backs bullpen this season, it's solid, but there were teams that were much better. However, they made some moves towards the very end of the season that seriously helped shore up that bullpen. They traded for closer Paul Sewald from the Mariners. They also signed Ryan Thompson, who was DFA'd by the Rays. Their bullpen ERA in the final 6 weeks of the season was just over 3.2, and in the playoffs it got even better, with a bullpen-wide ERA of 2.94. In this postseason, Sewald and Thompson have so far combined for 18.2 innings, allowing just 3 runs and striking out 19 batters. Kevin Ginkel has been even better than these two pitchers throughout the postseason, however, throwing 9 innings and allowing 0 runs and 13 strikeouts. This bullpen improvement was one of the biggest reasons why the Diamondbacks became relevant again. The lineup and rotation was obviously also very important, but it just doesn't compare to the bullpen. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel, and also watch this video right here because YouTube didn't push it out and you probably haven't seen it yet. So if you like this video, you'll probably like this one too. Thanks for watching.